first and foremost, super excited and blessed to be up here, and I just want to give everybody in the crowd a shout out for making it here and making that commitment to yourself of getting better literally each and every day. And I do just want to also quickly thank, Sean, Mike, Grady Polson, Andrew Taylor, Zach Chudowski, and the entire corporate staff and everybody that I just missed that put such an amazing event together for each and every one of us. So let's give it up for everyone. All right, guys, that all being said, Maya Morgan's topic today is writing business that stays on the books. Now, here's what I can tell you guys. In this business, it's really exciting making your first few sales. It's really exciting hitting your first year of Hall of Fame. But what's not really exciting is when you're writing business and you're not following up with your clients. Raise your hand if you've issued over $10,000 of business in a month in this room. Raise your hand if you've issued over 40. Now, be honest, guys. Raise your hand if you've issued over 40, but you made less than 20 that month. Couple of people. Okay, couple of people are honest out there, guys. Persistency is how we're profitable. That being said, coming in, I was not always profitable. I would write business, and I would get so excited. My first month in sales, guys, I was not with Family First Life. Be clear. I did not write one insurance policy. The next month, I really picked it up. I tried really hard to learn and understand. And I was so excited I could sell insurance to literally anybody, you name it. I would be like, you need insurance, and so does your kid, and so does your husband, and maybe your dog even needs it if we can get it on him. Let's just see if he qualifies. Now, obviously, long-term strategy, guys, that just simply doesn't work. That being said, when you start to implement an organization and you're growing with the team, now it's not just about, hey, how can I do it? It's about, hey, how do we all do it collectively? And how do we do it in a way that our persistency is staying in the green, right? In my organization, we like to say above 85 is healthy. Now, we've all heard the 70-30, right? 30% is going to fall off no matter who you are, or it's going to fall off. Okay, we can fit up that number, guys, and that's really what we're going to be talking about today. So that being said, biggest thing changed for me when I went from selling insurance to everybody to consulting. Hey, what do we need? What do we need? Not what do we want? What do we need? Let's talk about it. That being said, I've been able to duplicate that myself and with many others within my group. Treat your clients like your family. It was the best brain trick I've ever done to myself, and I'm so thankful I did it. I started looking at people like they were my sister, they were my aunt, they were my uncle, they were my grandfather, they were my great-great-grandfather. And when you can view things that way and think like, hey, what would I actually advise them to do? It actually makes you feel a lot more settled as the producer. So guys, stay in that lane because you're gonna operate from a place of strength mentally, and you're also gonna operate from a place of truly helping the person for the long haul. That being said, I have a quick acronym. It's gonna be ACT, A-C-T. A is gonna be for asking good questions. Now this all goes back to your sales process. Your sales process ties directly to the result of your persistency that you're getting. If you get chargebacks every other policy, your sales process needs some help, and that's okay because we're going to help it right now. But asking good questions. What does that look like when you talk to people? Are you just like, now John, God forbid you were to pass on one day, would you prefer a burial or cremation? Or are you like, hey John, when that day comes, who's picking up the pieces? Okay, your daughter, Christina, and is that something Christina's able to do right now? What would that look like for Christina? Who else would have to step in? Where would she go if she lives with him? Would she have to come down? Would she get buried? You have to ask and dive in with good questions. If you don't do that, guys, you deserve the charge back, respectfully. Somebody else consulted with them. The second is change your point of view. This was huge for me, guys. Like I said, I used to sell everybody. Now, a lead is called a lead for a reason. It's not called a sale. It's called a lead. We're not supposed to sell everybody, and everybody definitely isn't our clients. That's the good news, guys. You're not supposed to close 100% of the time, no matter how great you are. The third thing is going to be 3-touch system. When you're making your first call, most of us are closing right there. Awesome, proud of you, let's go. However, the relationship shouldn't end there. The second thing that I do that I think honestly helps me stand out as a personal producer is I handwrite a congratulations card. You can be like, you're wasting your time. No, my clients love it. And I always include 1 or 2 things I learned in the meeting there. And then the third touch is going to be calling, hey John, you should have got your policy in the mail by now. John, you have any questions about your policy? All right, well remember, you're stuck with me for life. I'll talk to you soon. Guys, follow up with your clients. And I want to leave you guys with this. Your level of appreciation in this business is directly tied to the work ethic. Show up for yourself and show up for the people around you. Gonna pass it over to Morgan.
Let's go. All right. Hopefully you guys have some notes from that. I love the acronym. I'm actually going to use that, so I'm going to steal it from you. But to kind of just elaborate on what my colleague here has kind of said today, guys, because obviously there's a lot of different things that we can go through today, but what you need to make sure you're doing, right, as you're listening to these speakers, is organize your thoughts, right? Write down a couple of bullet points and make sure that you actually implement, okay? Because you can have a page full of notes, but if you never look at it again after this conference, it's not going to help you, okay? So biggest thing that she kind of already established here is that persistency equals profitability. We aren't here to just sell insurance, right? We're here to make money and change lives. How much business is staying on the books is going to single-handedly determine how much you are actually making and netting every single month, more than your close ratio, more than any other element of this business. So it should be a focus for every single person in this room. Now, we're gonna do a quick show of hands real quick again. How many times have some of you guys gone in, we're looking for a new car, maybe you saw the listing online, it seemed a little out of your budget, but you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go test drive it. And you're like, okay, wait, no, we can make it work, right? We can make it work, and we buy the car. If anyone sees my fiance, make sure he raises his hand. So, biggest reason I bring this up, right, is because what that did was made you visualize having that car. It wasn't just a listing anymore. It wasn't just a price anymore. It wasn't just a photo anymore, right? You sat in the car, you visualize yourself driving it down the street, picking up your girlfriend, whatever it is, right? And that's what sold you the car, right? That's what makes you make the payments every single month. You have to make the same comparison in insurance. What she was saying with asking the right questions, right? If you're keeping it very surface level, if you're just going through coverage amounts and premiums, the first time something goes out of orbit in their financial situation, what's the first thing to go? It's that policy, right? Because we didn't create any type of emotional attachment to that coverage whatsoever. So what you guys need to be doing when you're pitching these clients is spending every single cent of that death benefit for their wife, for their kid, right? For their beneficiary, to make them understand exactly the utility that coverage is going to have for their family. You need to create an emotional attachment to the coverage that is going to extend beyond the conversation you have with them that day, okay? So that is step one. If you aren't doing that, no amount of touch points after, no amount of systems is gonna save your persistency, okay? So make sure you're caring, make sure you're asking the right questions and visualizing the day that that happens for the clients. Alrighty, so next thing here, we wanna make sure we're not just selling approvals, right? We can use the approval as a tool to get them to move, right? To get them into the application, but your word tracks should not just be, oh, well, you wanna think about it? No worries, let's just see if we can get you approved, right? We still wanna clarify you're signing up for insurance today, right? We're gonna go through that we can make any adjustments to the coverage if needed and all of the above, but we're not just going for an approval, right? We are going to get you covered. So make sure that you're aware of the way that you're actually closing people down, because if you're just selling approval, the second they get it, all of a sudden they don't want it anymore, right? And last kind of thing here that I want to touch on is in regards to the touch points. If you guys are really just keeping at that initial conversation, like we're in a virtual space now. They didn't get to have a direct one-on-one conversation with you in person, right? So we need to make sure that we're extending our relationship to them beyond a 30-minute phone call. So what that's gonna look like, right, for us, and making sure they have something tangible to review before the policy packet's actually, in their hands, send them a policy summary after the call. Make sure you email them, have a picture of you on it, have your NPN, have your phone number, your email, right? Have a picture of you and your kids, right? Make yourself a human being to them. So making sure that you follow up after with that policy summary, make sure you're following up to make sure they got the policy packet. I've had chargebacks before, like, yeah, I never got the policy. I didn't even know I ended up with the insurance, right? And then one last touch point prior to the draft date. Hey, want to make sure that, the third still works for you. A lot of people want the insurance, but they're just making it, right? They're making it month to month, like most of us sitting in this room that haven't started yet probably are too. So that being said, just because something lapses, just because something cancels doesn't necessarily mean they don't want it. So it's up to you as the agent to care, to call, and to correct. So last thing I'll kind of leave you guys with is if you care about anything in this business, it should be your clients. And if you care about your clients, put them in the best position and it will stay on the books. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.